A few months ago, I made a video about a nice little video game I like called Sky Children of the Light. I talked about how it does its best to be a non-toxic game, and how every aspect of gameplay is designed to reinforce this, from its lack of a general chat system to its lack of ability to harm or sabotage others, to how it encourages players to work together to achieve goals. But after I published the video, I realized that I had made a terrible mistake. I had talked about tons of stuff. The story of the game, its development, my own experiences with it, the many aspects of the community, both positive and negative. But I hadn't talked about something that really exemplified the ability of the game to connect people around the world for emotional experiences. Something that had, in fact, led to Sky becoming so popular and enjoyed that the game was able to break a world record. Something that people enjoyed so much that they still look back at it with a smile and try to relive it again and again. That being, of course, the collaboration concerts with Aurora. I seriously neglected to discuss Sky's seasons in my previous video, and especially the Aurora concerts, so here I am making a proper video about them. Because they are a big part of the game, and although I did mention them in that video, they deserve more attention. So let's discuss the seasons, using what is generally the most loved season, the season of Aurora, to do so. In this video, I'll give a brief overview of what Sky is and what Sky seasons are, and then I'll discuss who Aurora is and what the collaboration and concerts were like. Then I'll talk about how the concert actually went, focusing on the record-breaking encore performance, and then we'll discuss the implications of this event on Sky's future. FYI, there will be spoilers for the game and for the concert and season. As part of this, I'll show the footage that I captured myself of my experience during the said record-breaking concert as a way to 1. Help you understand the experience of it if you weren't there yourself, and 2. To record the footage from this record-breaking event forever online. Sky is, for the most part, a relatively chill game, so there's no particular trigger warnings for this video. However, do keep in mind that Aurora's songs and the physical and visual interpretations of them in Sky do handle some darker topics and can bring even the most emotionally detached people to tears. So you've been warned. And with that, let's get into it. Sky Children of the Light, or as I and most others call it, Sky, is a multiplayer open-world exploration game developed by That Game Company, a small American game company founded in 2006 in California. The game involves the player, a child of light, journeying through 7 realms which represent the stages of life, to restore light to the world and free the spirits of other children of light. The game takes about 6 hours to complete, just following the main story, and has tens and tens of hours of extra content and quests. It can be played completely solo or with friends in groups of up to 8 people. Sky was the 4th game released by That Game Company and was inspired by their previous releases Flower and Journey, with the aim of creating an experience of emotional catharsis, an experience which definitely applies to the Aurora concerts. Sky entered development in 2015, was released in 2019, and is going strong to this day. If you want to hear more about the incredible story of the game and about its development, community, and features which make it a great non-toxic game, I recommend you check out episode 5 of my podcast, which goes into more detail. For now, let's focus on Sky's seasons. Sky, like lots of games, has seasons. But unlike other games with seasons, which seem to be mostly competitive ranked games, Sky's seasons aren't competitive, or ranked, or even violent. Instead, each season introduces a new story to the game, fleshing out the world and exhibiting the more magical aspects of it. Each season also introduces new expressions or emotes, and new cosmetics. Some seasons introduce new seasonal areas too. Some examples of seasonal areas that were introduced include the Air Paths, the Starlight Desert, and the Aviary Village, the home base for players who started playing after that season. Sky's first season, the Season of Gratitude, ran from July 19th, 2019 to September 2nd, 2019. The season, being the first, was of course far less developed and extravagant than the ones we have now, and instead of a new area with a whole storyline, etc., just introduced a few new spirits, cosmetics, and expressions, which the player could find by journeying around the world of the game. The Season of Gratitude was followed by the Season of Lightseekers, the Season of Belonging, and the Season of Rhythm. The Season of Enchantment, which ran from April to June 2020, was the first to be hosted in its own seasonal area, the Forgotten Ark in the Golden Wasteland. It was a pioneering season and was the first to include many aspects we expect from current seasons, including being the first with a specific storyline, and the first season whose seasonal guide remained in the game afterwards to help players relive the quests after the season finished. The season also introduced a spell shop, which was loved by players, since it used to be the only place players could buy spells, like spells to colour your trail, make you glow, and spells to increase or decrease your player height. After this, we can see the new format of seasons, with the next 8 seasons all having new seasonal areas. The Season of Enchantment was followed by the Season of Sanctuary, which in turn was followed by the Season of Prophecy, a season that has, in my opinion, a very poor reputation for one main reason. Most of the seasonal quests in Sky suit the concept of the game. The quests that make up the story are relatively simple, and they often include some kind of simple fetch quest or puzzle. They can be completed in about 5 minutes each and are designed to move the story onwards rather than hassle the player. The Season of Prophecy, though, was kind of the opposite. Each of the 4 quests was instead a test associated with one of the 4 elements: water, earth, air, and fire. And these quests are difficult, especially for a new player going through them for the first time with no guidance. The water quest is mostly just painful, and the earth quest just takes a lot of careful maneuvering so you don't fall off the map, but the fire quest can be next to impossible to pass if you don't have a map created by other players to guide you through. Everyone has their own least favourite of the tests, and my personal one is the air test, where the air currents buffet you around to the point where you're constantly falling off the map, and can make even a single jump hundreds of times without landing it. Combine this with the fact that the whole test is made of slippery ice, and if you land too close to the edge, well, you'll fall off anyway. All of these tests take away your wings and your spells, so you're left all alone with your candle and your parkour abilities. Many people skip the Season of Prophecy and only go there when absolutely needed, precisely because of how finicky and annoying these tests are, and I think it says something about the reception of the season that we haven't had tests like this since. Anyway, moving on. Then we have the Season of Dreams, Season of Assembly, Season of the Little Prince, Season of Flight, Season of Abyss, and Season of Performance, all of which, as previously mentioned, included their own seasonal areas, and included the enchantment elements of a storyline and a guide spirit who stays afterwards to guide future players. The season following the Season of Performance was the Season of Shattering, and it was unique since it didn't have a new area, and also didn't have any seasonal spirits or a specific home base, returning to the old seasonal structure somewhat. This season involved shards falling from Eden, which would provide small on-the-ground quests for players, and provided candles, either ascended or normal. This was the first way for players to get ascended candles without going through Eden, making it an appreciated addition. Following the Season of Shattering is the Season of Aurora, the subject of today's video, which didn't include a new seasonal area but did upgrade an existing area, the Colosseum. We'll discuss the Season of Aurora in more detail later. The seasons following the Season of Aurora were the Season of Remembrance, the Season of Passage, the Season of Moments, the Season of Revival, the Season of the Nine-Coloured Deer, and the Season of Nesting, which all took place in their own seasonal areas, with the caveat of Passage's seasonal area just being a nighttime version of the Isle of Dawn, and Nesting's seasonal area being a small workshop off to the side of the Aviary Village, and introducing new player homes or nests. The current season at time of recording is the Season of Duets, which again includes a seasonal area, the concert hall in the Aviary Village, and which will run until the 29th of September 2024. Everyone, of course, has their favourite and least favourite seasons, and that game company routinely runs surveys to see what players liked about previous seasons, which helps them know what to do next. But I personally like exploring the new areas most about the new seasons, more so than the storyline. So my favourite seasons, aka my favourite seasonal areas, are the Season of Moments, the Season of Passage, the Season of Flight, the Season of the Little Prince, the Season of Assembly, the Season of Dreams, and the Season of Sanctuary. Yeah, that's a lot, but I guess it is what it is. So now that we have a decent understanding of sky seasons, something that I really should have included more of in my previous video, let's discuss the main one that's the topic of this video, the Season of Aurora. The Season of Aurora was the 15th season in Sky and ran from October 17th, 2022 to January 2nd, 2023. Sky seasons usually get teased and go into beta around the end of the previous season, so we heard about the Season of Aurora and the fact that Aurora herself was involved around the end of July 2022. Aurora is a Norwegian singer born in 1996 who is probably most known for her song Runaway, which became a TikTok sound.
And I was running far away, would I run off the world someday? Nobody knows, and I was dancing in the rain, I felt alive and I can't complain, but no, take me home where I belong.
She has been involved in many projects, including lending her vocals to Frozen and One Piece. Her Wikipedia page lists that she provided vocals for Sky's music as well, but I can't find which songs this was for, other than that one track was supposedly The Light Beyond. The Sky Season of Aurora, which was a collaboration with Aurora, brought her back, this time in full force. Aurora became an in-game avatar who became the seasonal guide, and all of the songs, stories, cosmetics, and quests in the season were based on her songs, and her past performances. Each of the 4 seasonal quests explored the story of one of the seasonal spirits, set to one of Aurora's songs. Each of the quests upgrades the Colosseum to be brighter, bigger, and more colourful, with colourful ribbons and auroras running around its outer edge. Let's run through the quests. Quest 1 is in the Isle of Dawn and uses Runaway as the soundtrack, and describes the story of a child who comes on a boat to the shore. A spirit helps the child, who then runs alone to a fleet of boats, who have left them behind. The spirit has died in the process of helping, and the child seems to have buried them. The child then makes their way to the boats leading up to the temple and prepares to fly there. Quest 2 is in the Hidden Forest and uses the song All Is Soft Inside, telling the story of the mindful miner who transports materials around the cave. The miner scares away some nearby jellyfish for no reason other than perhaps just to be mean to nature. Later, a different miner gets trapped by falling rocks inside the butterfly cave, and 2 more become trapped, including the mindful miner. The jellyfish come to free the workers and the mindful miner, who then shows their gratitude to the jellyfish. The mindful miner then starts to protect the jellyfish from the other workers who are cruel towards them, and the miner and the jellyfish seemingly become friends. The third quest is in the Citadel in the Valley of Triumph and uses the song Warrior. The memory includes a group of spirits racing on mantas before the backflipping champion falls from their manta and becomes injured. How they became injured when literally every spirit in the game can fly is questionable, but ignore that. Anyway, they're injured and the Warrior of Love takes their place in the next race, initially lagging behind but later only just making it across the finishing line first, gaining the respect of the other races. The fourth quest is on the battlefield in the Golden Wasteland and uses the song The Seed. The Seed of Hope runs across the battlefield to help their allies and only just makes it to the fortress. The Seed offers help to others too but is wounded by a spear. They are defended by 2 soldiers, and the 4 run from a krill before eventually reaching safety with their friends. After each of these quests, you wake up, as such, in the same place that you started, almost like you had a dream or a vision, which I guess you kind of did. My personal favourite is the Mindful Miner's quest for Quest 2. The miner is my favourite of the spirits because I like their hair the most, they're green, which is my favourite colour, and their quest takes place in the cavern in the Hidden Forest, which is one of my favourite places in the game. Also, I like their story, where they learn to be a more, mindful and environmentally friendly miner, and where they seemingly gain an army of companion jellyfish. Although, special mention to the Warrior of Love, the third quest, which uses air currents to really get you into the fast-paced nature of the Manta Racing storyline, and which has a nice underdog arc. I especially love how the memories in all of these missions pulse in time with the music. The fifth and final quest is to attend Aurora's concert, which was called The Musical Voyage and ran for about 50 minutes, starting every 4 hours from midnight or reset time. The concert introduced that game company's new festival technology, which allowed more than the usual 8 players to be hosted and visible on a single server. Anyone other than the 8 would appear as one of these little sprites. There was also a reaction bar down the bottom of the screen where each Sky Kid could react to the concert for all to see. The combination of hundreds of people in one space and the reactions being constantly used created the sense of a huge crowd and added to the concert experience, and during the concert itself could create a sense of belonging with others as everyone experienced similar emotions at the same time. Each concert was held in a nighttime version of the Colosseum, and several pre- and post-concert activities and mini-games were available, with more added just before the encore record-breaking concert. These activities included bonfires, campfire snacks, a guided meditation voiced by Aurora, hugs from Aurora, crab races, personality quiz polls, a duel where you could spam emojis, the light parade, and light spheres which could be guided to different locations by using the telekinesis emote. The concert itself had an interesting seating system where players would be allocated a seat, but could change this seat if wanted. You could find your seat by honking, exactly the same as you would see the light in the regular game. These seats mirrored a concert, with a mosh pit and even VIP couch seats. Although there were only 4,176 seats available, any number of people could attend. You just have to stand, I guess. The concert transported players through several immersive musical experiences, where the player was either alone or turned into a creature of light, and were surrounded by all of the other players in that concert who were also turned into creatures of light. This made it easy to see at a glance how many people were in the experience with you, and added to the concert vibe and experience. The concert started with the player alone in the void, where the song Exhale, Inhale plays, before Aurora makes her first appearance in the Colosseum and greets the crowd. Aurora greets each of the 4 spirits in turn before playing their individual songs, starting with the Running Wayfarer and Runaway. For each of these songs, we are transformed into a light creature and travel through the environment. In Runaway, we turn into a knife fish, then butterflies, then birds. Interestingly, for most of these light creatures, the colour is slightly altered based on the colour of the cape you equipped before the start of the concert, which is nice because not only is it kind of customizable, but it also provides more variety in the crowd. During these songs, you are also periodically alone and with all of the other players, which, along with the other experiences and the more physical experience of having to and being able to navigate through the world, helps the player be more engaged with the concert. Next, Aurora welcomes the Mindful Miner, and we hear All Is Soft Inside, where we are the jellyfish. Next is the Warrior of Love and Warrior, where we are mantas. Finally, the Seed of Hope and the Seed, where we are birds circling above a huge cloud, which, be warned, will steal your light if you fly into it. Later, we become butterflies and fly through the battlefield. The battle ends in tragedy, and as butterflies, we are transported to the aftermath of it for the 6th song, Through the Eyes of a Child. We are initially alone on the battlefield, but then begin to meet up with more and more other players, until we're all together. Then a giant Aurora appears and embraces all of the players. After that, we're transported to orbit with the giant Aurora, while The Light Beyond, which is the track Aurora collaborated on, plays. This whole time, a glowing orb above Aurora in the Colosseum has been growing in size and colour, presumably representing the combined power and love of the spirits and players. Finally, Aurora performs Queendom, which includes an interesting segment. In the pre-chorus, players are sucked from around the Colosseum into Aurora's metaphysical body, and when the chorus begins, they are thrown away from her across the Colosseum like multicoloured confetti. At the end, Aurora's spirit is surrounded by Sky Kids, and she leaves us with the final message that we shine brighter together. Something I found really interesting about the concert is that every single performance included a final card, telling the player how many others were with them in the concert, which really brings home how connected we can be to people around the world, and which I think was a great addition. You can experience the whole concert on YouTube on Sky's channel, or you can relive the concert yourself through pairing up with someone with the paid Aurora wings. I really recommend you check out the whole thing with headphones, since, well, it's a great experience. So, people really enjoyed this concert. It was super fun, especially flying around the Colosseum or trying to find a place where you wouldn't get sucked towards Aurora for Queendom. Spoiler, there's nowhere, not even inside the buildings, where you won't get sucked towards her. The community loved this season and the missions, and especially the concert. So, nice season, right? Everyone's happy. But it gets even better. That game company saw the concerts, and their festival technology was successful. So, what did they do next? They set their eyes higher, on a Guinness World Record. That world record being the record for the highest number of people in a concert-themed virtual world, which I believe was previously held by Fortnite with about 100 people in a server for a Travis Scott concert. After the season of Aurora ended in January 2023, that game company announced that they were bringing the concert back for a series of encore performances, which would run from August 23rd to September 3rd of 2023. They announced that they would be trying to break this world record during the concert on Friday, August 25th from 6 AM PDT onwards. The concert was hosted at the Gamescom 2023 event by Nasty Mold, a Sky content creator who I discussed a bit more in my previous episode about Sky. Other content creators like Noob Mode, also mentioned in my previous episode, streamed the concert live, played games with their fans, and encouraged people to hop on to help break the record. The concert and the events surrounding it were truly massive, and in the end, Sky was able to break the record for the most people on a single server in a concert-themed virtual world. They absolutely obliterated Fortnite's record, with 10,061 players in a single server. But not only that, apparently 1.25 million users joined the concert across all of Sky's servers, leading to constant crashes as there were just too many people to keep the servers fully running. This meant that Sky set another record for the most players emoting together at the same time in a video game, with over 1.25 million people watching the same Aurora concert. And that's not even counting the people who just watched the Twitch streams and weren't actually in the game. In the end, the encore concerts apparently had about 1.6 million viewers, with individual instances of up to 4,000 people, and that is pretty crazy. This is one of the reasons I wanted to make this video, to discuss how insane it was that this small game from this small company with small servers and everything was able to break these records that even massive games like Fortnite couldn't. So to that lady who responded to my pub trivia question about this with "who cares?", a lot of people care. Especially since at Gamescom, Sky apparently won awards for Games for Impact and Best Mobile Game. This game has impact, and it's a lesson in gaming psychology and in how games can also be art. And it's also just socially useful considering the connection, but also how they donate to charities. Anyway, another reason I wanted to make this video, other than commemorating the concert, was to showcase some of the footage I recorded from that record-breaking concert, so it's preserved forever, and also so that you can see how insane it was to be in a server for this event with so many people. Remember, each of these light creatures is a person. I don't remember how many people were in my specific instance of the concert. I think it was about 6,500, but I'm not entirely sure. The point is, it was a lot of people and it was a very meaningful experience for me. I think my personal favourite moment was flying over the Valley of Triumph and seeing all the mantas flying around.
dream I was 7, climbing my way in a tree. I saw a piece of heaven waiting impatient for me, dawn. And I was running far away. Would I run off the world someday? Nobody knows, nobody knows. And I was dancing in the rain. I felt alive and I can't complain. But no, take me home where I belong. I can't take it anymore. I was painting a picture. The picture was a painting of you, and for a moment I thought you were here, but then again it wasn't true. And all this time I have been lying, oh, lying in secret to myself. I've been putting sorrow on the forest place on my shelf. And I was running far away. Would I run off the world someday? Nobody knows, nobody knows. And I was dancing in the rain. I felt alive and I can't complain. But don't take me home where I belong. I got no other place to go. Don't take me home where I belong. I got no other place to go. Don't take me home where I Kingdom Come. The Kingdom Come. My Kingdom Come. My Kingdom Come. The sea waves are my evening gown, and the sun on my head is so cold. I made this kingdom on my own, and all the mountains are mine. Drink until you've had enough. I'll drink from your hands. I will be your warrior. I will be your lamb. The kingdom come. The kingdom come. My kingdom come. My kingdom come. I hunt around for empathy and hate the way it hides from me. With care and thirst I have become. You have a home in my queendom. You have a home in my queendom. You have a place in my queendom. You have a home. The kingdom come. The kingdom come. My 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 kingdom
Always remember, our lights shine brighter.
And with that, let's discuss yet another reason why I wanted to make this video: the implications of this concert and its world record. Well, first of all, and most obviously, Sky now has 2 world records to its name. And as much as world records can be pretty much anything these days, the 2 that Sky have are pretty big ones. They will bring the game lots of popularity and publicity, and they already have and will continue to bring the game lots of players. The world record also marked a new era for Sky, where everything was bigger in scale. We've had seasons like the Season of Moments and the Season of the 9-Coloured Deer, which had massive new areas, and seasons with more ambitious stories like the Season of the 9-Coloured Deer. We've also seen festival technology used in other areas and seasons, like in the Aviary Village, the concert hall for the Season of Duets, and the Days of Colour events in 2023 and 2024. It's also been used for Skyfest and other events. The fact that the devs had to put so much effort into maintaining the servers and the festival technology during this period also means that they are now giving GDC talks about hosting large numbers of players. The GDC, or Game Developers Conference, is run every year in the United States and hosts a wide range of talks about various game development topics, from how to animate to how to design levels to representation in gaming and financing indie games. Sky devs have historically given many talks here, including about how to create a non-toxic and emotionally cathartic experience. And after the world record, they've also given these talks about how to host so many players. The fact that they are using this knowledge to help other developers shows both how collaborative and non-toxic the company's attitude is, but also how innovative a lot of their games and approaches are and have been. I really recommend watching all of the GDC talks the Sky devs have given, or even all of the GDC talks in general, since the vast majority are super interesting. even to those like myself who don't develop games. And the Sky ones reveal a lot about the story and development of the game which you might find interesting. Finally, the concert has the obvious legacy of just being one of the biggest and best things that Sky has done. The concert will always be a huge and important part of Sky's history now, and contributes to it being recognised as an amazing game, but more importantly, an artistic and emotionally cathartic game. The concert is seriously so calming and cathartic, especially Queendom, and is an amazing experience with tons of emotional resonance. It is yet another example on my growing list of how video games in fact can be art, can be social, and can be genuinely meaningful, and they don't have to just be violent, senseless, and addictive. In fact, I would argue that the majority of video games aren't just violent, senseless, and addictive, but some people have a vendetta against games and gamers, you know. So yeah, a pretty big impact in gaming. If nothing else, a big impact on the Sky community and the community of people who enjoy playing exploration and social mobile games. There's a reason Sky won an award for Games for Change. So with that done, let's wrap up the minisode. Sky Children of the Light is a game which sets out to be non-toxic and to promote emotionally cathartic and fulfilling social and individual experiences. And as I discussed in episode 5, it actually succeeded. Sky keeps new players invested and old players playing through a variety of ways, but one way is to add new content relatively continuously through the use of seasons. Each season lasts a few months and introduces new content, story, and cosmetics. The season of Aurora was the 15th season of the game and ran in late 2022 as a collaboration with Norwegian singer Aurora. The season included a series of emotional and interesting song quests, and culminated in a wondrous and magnificent final concert which rounded out the whole experience and introduced new technology to the Sky player base. It was so successful in its initial run that game company, the company behind Sky, decided to try and beat the record for the most players in a concert-themed virtual world. And on August 25th, 2023, they did it, with over 10,000 players in a single server. This concert has had a huge impact on the Sky community and is deeply loved and appreciated to this day. It has brought new players and prestige to the game, and it has allowed the devs the opportunity to share their technology and learning with other devs. Overall, it was an actual sin for me to have not discussed either the Sky seasons or the season and concert of Aurora in my first Sky video. And of course, I had to rectify that mistake. The concert is just yet another example of how video games can be emotional, increase connections, and just generally be another form of human art and expression. And I wanted to show my own footage. Anyway, that brings us to the end of this minisode. Thanks for watching, I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next one.